So let's say we are pressing the cancel button and click on next, and this is the recovery operation. We are pressing the cancel or the escape button. Now we can add more than one multiple recovery operation for a trigger event, but by checking this checkbox. Now say I just want to add one recovery operation, so I'll uncheck this checkbox and click on next. So these are the different post recovery test run options. So I can repeat the current step and continue. That is, after I got the pop-up, I pressed the escape button to close the pop-up, and after that the post recovery test run option will be to run the current step where the event was triggered, or you can proceed to the next step, or you can proceed to the next action entirely, or to the next test iteration, or you can restart the current test run, or you can stop the test run. So these are the different options which you can perform. So let's say stop the test run. I just want to stop once the recovery once the event is triggered. So I'll click next, and then you have to give some name. You can also give some description to it. You can give anything, any description, and when you click on next, it will give you the summary of the scenario settings which you had chosen. By clicking on this, you can add the scenario to the current test. As I told you before, like function library, we create the recovery scenario explicitly, and then we can add it to the test. You can add it to any test you want. Okay, so you can add it to the current test, or you can add scenario to default test settings. So default test settings is no matter what test you create. Suppose you create a new test, by default this recovery scenario will be added to it. So every time you don't need to add this. If you want by default this scenario recovery scenario to be added to whatever test you create, you can choose this option, and then you can just click on finish. So as you can see, one of my recovery scenario has been created over here. Now let's see. Okay, I want to save the changes. Now see, this is .qrs. As I said, QRS, we save the recovery scenario explicitly. So I have saved it in. I'll save it in my local file system with the scripts. So I can create a new folder altogether where I can keep my recovery scenarios. So during the live project creation, you can have your own folder where you can keep your recovery scenarios. Okay, I can give the name, any name I can give. Let's say I give recovery. Now what we can do is we can create an actual recovery scenario using the knowledge which I have with us. Now this is a simple example of login to the flight reservation system, wherein we are adding the agent name, password, and then clicking on the OK button. Now suppose I have two flight login dialog box open. Now QTP, when executing the script, won't be able to when it is trying to set the agent name, it won't be able to find the unique agent name edit box, because there are two edit boxes with same identical properties in the object repository. Therefore QTP will be confused on which edit box it is supposed to set the agent name as test. In that case, QTP will throw an error since it's not able to find the unique identification property. So okay, I'll just comment the first line since it's not required, and I'll run the script with two login dialog boxes open. So let's see what happens. So as you can see, QTP cannot find the agent name objects parent login since there are two two dialog boxes open. So this situation can be handled using recovery scenario manager. Okay, so we can create a recovery scenario for this test. We'll go to recovery scenarios manager, and we'll create a new recovery scenario. Okay, so first of all we have to choose the trigger event. Now a trigger event can be any of this. In our case, it is the test run error, right? We are getting the error during the test run. And then next, and what type of error you are getting. Okay, object not found, object not visible, object is disabled. So let's say we are choosing a generic option, that is any error. So any error that is returned by test object. Then we click on next. Now the recovery operations, as I told you, we can have multiple recovery operation. What in our case, if you see, when I press the escape button, one of the login dialog box will close. Okay, so this is what my recovery operation will be. If I want to proceed further, if I want QTP to uniquely identify the object, one of the dialog box needs to be closed. So it is it will be keyboard operation. So I'll select this option and click on next. So there are different options like pressing the enter key. We have to press the escape key in order to close the dialog box. Then I'll click on next. So as you can see, the recovery operation detail has been displayed over here. We just need one recovery operation, so I'll uncheck this box and next. Now I have option for the post recovery test run option. Now the as you know that the recovery the trigger has been the event has been triggered on line number 2 when the agent name could not be set due to multiple edit boxes. So what I want to do after the event has been handled, that is our step 2, recovery operation has been performed and one of the dialog box has been closed, we want to execute the same step again. That is, we want to set the agent name now when we have only a single dialog box. So what we'll do is we'll repeat the current step and continue. Next. Now you can give any name to this, like say multiple, and you can give any description to this and click on next. I'll see the scenario settings. It is a test run error. The recovery operation is a keyboard operation, and the post recovery test run option is repeating the current step and continue. Now let's add this scenario to the current test and finish this. So we'll save it somewhere. I'll give the name recovery underscore multiple dialog box. Okay,